if you were the editor-in-chief of a gaming website and some of your employees, at least in this hypothetical, appeared to be engaged in, sorry, appeared to be credibly accused of ethical violations, what would you have done?
Mm. I suppose it really depends on sort of the nature of the accusation, um, and sort of what's happening. Because if it is like an angry mob, like you have to sort of prioritize sort of the safety of the employee and holding strong against that. That kind of has to be the main thrust of your response. Um, there are certainly there's a range of gamuts of what the nature of the accusation is, because there are certain kinds that would warrant uh, very decisive action, public statements like termination, like all sorts of things. There's lots of things you can do to make to be bad, and there's also of things that can just like draw a lot of um, how should I say, like over outsized sort of bad reactions. mm.
Do you think that being oppositional or viewing yourself as being oppositional to the quote-unquote mob is going to make things better, or do you think that you like if you address the concerns that they have, they a lot of them might go away?
Mm. Um, I don't feel like addressing the concerns would really make it go away. There's also the issue of like, what do you encourage? Like, do you set a precedent that mobs will produce what the mob wants? And maybe setting that precedent isn't good.
Couldn't the same thing be said for like the people who did change the cover?
Um, I guess it depends on to the extent of which change the cover people. Um, how personal did their engagement get? Like, were they harassing this one person and like really like making stuff bad for individuals? Because like if like a company gets like a whole bunch of emails or engagement or harass or like, how should I say, like just all sorts of stuff like being thrown at them, like that's not like personalized. It's not like against any one individual. At that point, it is sort of a matter of the fact that they're getting this X amount of feedback. But when it gets to like messing with the individual peoples and like making their actual lives bad and not just like the company's life bad, like that's when it sort of crosses the line, I suppose.
You know, it's interesting. There's another parallel here with like Black Lives Matter, where it seems like it's my view. I guess I'll just say is that like if you did something wrong, like you should probably like fix that thing. Like even
Mm.
if you don't like some of the people criticizing it, like the police. I think a lot of the police officers today view people who call for reform, whether they use the Black Lives Matter hashtag or not, or call themselves Black Lives Matter or not, they view it as very oppositional, and I think that that's like made society worse.
I think it is situational because sometimes when you're called out, it's good and you should just sort of take the L. So for Black Lives Matter and police stuff, like for all the stuff that happened, they should probably just be like, yeah, we screwed up. You're right. We're gonna like fix things. That would be great. Um, and like making this stance of like, well, we really need to like discourage, like we need to like protect against all this stuff. Like, I think it's tricky. I feel like it is more incumbent on the police too. And there's a certain expectation of behavior that a lot of the things Black Lives Matter had issues with are sort of egregious violations of like the charter of what a police officer ought to be, and it's egregious enough that like it really the decision really ought to be decisive. Um, a lot of the reforms that GamerGate wanted, yeah, they should probably all happen. Um, maybe there's a way to make that happen without encouraging the form GamerGate took, and also sort of prioritizing what should I say? The integrity of the effort to ensure there is safety for the employees. Because if it's like, well, we're going to protect everyone, but then we're just going to do everything the people said, it's like, it's a little odd, but it's still having, I don't know, it's complicated. That sounds like a difficult thing to, a difficult process to orchestrate.
I know you don't pay too much attention to games journalism now, so we can skip this question if you want. But
Mm.
do you think that I should really reword this question? Do you think that there is still a role for good text-based games journalism in the world, and what would that look like to you?
I mean, yeah, I like text-based more than video-based, for example. Like, well, it depends. If it's like media analysis, I really like the sort of video essay format, because, but that in and of itself is more entertainment. Um, when it comes to like actual like journalism like that, I feel like text-based is like better. 'Cause just, I don't know, it's a medium I prefer for consumption of information. Um, and the role for that is like all the stuff I was mentioning before. Like, when you want to have like the announcements of events, you want to have shining of lights on bad behavior and whistleblowing and industry coverage and event coverage and things like that. Like, I think there's still a lot of good to be had there.
Hi, I'm Tachyon Blue. Thank you for watching another one of my GamerGate book video segments. Altogether, I've interviewed over 70 people involved with GamerGate, and I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign in the coming weeks. So please, I need your support to help make this project a reality. I'm turning these 70 plus interviews into a multi-volume series of books, the first volume of which is already completed. And so I'd like you to please stay tuned for more information about the Kickstarter. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. More updates will be coming in the near future. Thank you, and take care.